Let's give you a quick tour of Adobe Spark, which is an awesome collection of web-based tools that let you create beautiful, interactive, dynamic graphics. The site itself, spark.adobe.com, once you get there, you can log in with your Google account. Allows Google login, which is a beautiful thing. So once you're logged in, you have three options as to what kind of projects you create. We'll start by clicking the yellow plus sign. We can create a video, a web page, or a post. And a post is like an image that you could potentially post to social media. There's also layouts here for posters and things like that as well. So we'll start with a post. And the idea here is that Adobe Spark wants to do as much of the design work as it can for you beforehand. So you kind of throw in some text that you want to put here. We'll do don't add upgrade will be my tagline here. We'll click continue. As you can see down below, it lets us choose a graphic size right away if we want to, poster or slide. You can also change that size later. I'm going to actually make mine a Twitter post, so I'm going to click on Twitter and continue. So what you'll see is Spark's going to do a lot of the work. It's going to say, okay, well, I'm going to pick a background for you. I'm going to take the text that you wanted to add and style it a bit and add it onto that background. It also gives you some suggestions for other designs that you could choose. So you see design up here in our menu. We can scroll through and see some of the other things that it might offer. So like this one, sugar plum. So these are all the automated tools that it provides you in terms of its your design, but you can also go through and customize it yourself. So you'll see up at the top we have more menu options. Layout is one, which allows us to go through and actually set individual spaces within our design. So I can go and choose a particular grid layout, and that's going to make two individual spaces here where I can add content. That can be shuffled around as well, and I can change that as I go, and every now and again it's going to scoot my text into a different space depending on the layout I choose. But you can also go ahead and here's a place where you can actually resize your project altogether. So let's say you started making this to post to Twitter, but you really wanted to turn it into a poster after you kind of got creating. So you can come to the resize area in layout and choose poster, which is right here, poster, which creates a larger canvas for you, 11 by 17. So if you did want to print it, you could print it later on 11 by 17 paper. It would come out appropriately. So within the editing screen itself, you've got a little add button. You can use that to add texts or text boxes and photos. So if I click on add text, you get that same screen you saw in the beginning. You punch in the text you want it to say, click save, and it's going to automatically style it for you. Now you have some freedom over changing the way it looks. If you want to change the words themselves, click on the edit pencil. If you want to change the style, you can actually kind of scrub through with this little circular handle here, and it gives you some suggestions on what it thinks would look good in the space you have. So I'm going to scroll right around back to this one and click done, and that's going to apply that. But again, if I wanted to do something more particular, if there was something I had in mind, I can style it myself with these options here. Once the text is selected, I can shape it and rotate it, but I can also change these settings here. So I can change the shape of it to be bordered by a diamond if I want to. So you see how it adds that diamond. You can also put some laurels around it. So there's lots and lots of options, all done for you automatically as soon as you select the option. You click done after you're finished setting every other option. Color we have here. So you can go through and choose colors, combinations. It suggests some for you based on your overall theme that might look the best, but you can also go ahead and do your own colors as well. So if I click on orange, it's going to color both of these, my laurel and my text orange. You'll see the ones that are split in half. That means you're setting a color for the text and a color for the laurel separately. Click done when you're done with your colors. You can choose new fonts. They have a pretty wide array of them, all sorted by styling. You can go ahead and change the spacing between your letters. So you see there, if I click spacing and just keep clicking through, it's going to and continue increasing the space between between the lines and the words that I have. And alignment as well is the same thing. So if I keep clicking align, it's going to go through all my options for aligning the words up. And opacity too allows me to change how transparent my words and designs are. So that's all the text elements you can play around with. You can also change the background of some of the spaces that you have. So for this one, I've got just a pink background, and I can choose a photo or a color to fill that background. And of course, it gives me suggestions for colors again. But if I just want to choose one of my own, I just go through and click the little bobble, and I'm good, and it makes that change for me. I can resize these content areas as well, but you'll notice that the areas that live directly adjacent to each other, they change at the same time in the same way. So they're always changing proportionally. If I want to do a photo background, I can choose one of these spaces and choose background and then photo. I can click add photo, and this is where it's pretty interesting actually. I can upload photos of my own. I can also search for photos online, and it only searches through photos that have a Creative Commons license applied to them that allows you to use images from the web. I can also connect to Google Photos and bring photos in from my Google accounts as well. So I can use photos that I've already stored in Google Drive. And you can see the other options here as well. Let me show you the Find Photos option. So we'll search for, we'll just search for the word computer, and we get some stock images coming up for computers. So what I think I'll choose is this picture of a keyboard, and I'll click it. And it's going to fit it into that space that they already have set, which is pretty fun. When I click on that image, I can adjust it, meaning I can change how much of it fits inside that cell, or I can rotate it if I want to spin things around. Okay, so you can see that. I can also replace that picture with something else later if there's something else I'd rather have in that space, just by clicking on the image itself and choosing Replace. It also gives you some options to recolor your images that you bring in with photo filters. So you can see, though, I don't really have too many options here because there's really not too much color within my picture, but I could change to a quick blue tint that gives it a little bit more of a, I guess, a cinematic look. Now, let's say that along the way you aren't really quite happy with all the color combinations you have within your design. If you click on the palette menu, you can go through and actually play around with choosing new color palettes to apply to your overall design. So if you click on one of the color palettes, it's going to swap out the different colors for new ones, and you can actually shuffle these around as well. So if you keep clicking the shuffle button, it's going to apply those colors in different spaces. Let's say that one of these themes is close to one that you'd like to use, but it's just missing one little color that you'd like to add. Click on the sliders icon, head in there, and grab from the More menu a color of your choice. And there's an eyedropper tool there too, so if there's a particular color on the web that you'd like to use, you can use that. If I just click this little red or orange here, I'm able to modify that theme and save it. And now that orange will start popping up inside of my design. Once you're done with a post or a movie or a website, you can click on the share button, and your images can be downloaded along with your videos. They can be downloaded as well, or you can just share them as links on the web. Once you choose a category for your post, you can create a public link, and then that link can be shared out just like any other link you can create in any other application.